Yeah, so here's my infrared camera, little FLIR C2. We'll start the class in about 5 minutes or so. But here's my infrared camera. Yeah, fits in your pocket, and it's very inexpensive in relation to other infrared cameras. Probably like if you're going to invest in an infrared camera, this might be the first one, but it doesn't see everything. Low resolution, and you know the idea is that there's my coffee. Things give off, everything gives off these signals, infrared waves. So there's nothing going on there, nothing on the floor in my studio here. But the demonstration that I did was my water bottle. You grab the water bottle, yeah. And if you're looking for water, infrared is really helpful. It's kind of like a really awesome camera. And so it sees things that you wouldn't normally see. So I just sprayed the floor with water, which is a little bit cooler than the environment around it. And again, water has this incredible capacity to hold heat energy, and it doesn't want to change temperature very much. So how does that help with you? If you're holding the infrared camera, well, you can, if you're looking for moisture, you can manipulate the environment by turning, let's say you turn up the heat and warm everything up. Now you're looking for cool groundwater. It'll be about 55, 60 degrees or so if it's coming in directly from the ground. And so you have time to find the water because it doesn't want to change temperature very much. And great capacitors of heat energy also, coincidentally, emit an incredible amount of infrared. So water is a great emitter of infrared waves. And that's why you kind of light up very easily. We're hot. Our bodies are hot, filled with water. Water is it's pretty easy to find when you have a really high resolution camera. So investing in one of those, I invested one for my inspection business, and it really boosted my business because it became part of my brand. I became the home inspector who also carried the infrared camera. And I did cool things like I would put my hand up against the side of a wall just for a second, and I let my clients check it out with my infrared camera so that they can see what I'm seeing, right? It's not seeing through walls, it's seeing surface temperatures. So if something's wet and cool, I'll probably see it with my infrared camera if I'm doing it correctly, but I want to confirm it with this fella, a moisture meter. It's got the probe and also has the non-invasive and a little indicator. I could care less about the actual temperature. I'm not quantifying anything. I'm not measuring anything. As a home inspector, that gives me a lot of freedom. If you're an energy auditor, you're doing quantification, you're calculating numbers and things like that. But as a home inspector, I'm just looking around, essentially. So that's cool. I just wanted to show you that. And we'll unplug that. Video is choppy. Yeah, the video is choppy. The video recording will be a little bit better. But let's see, what is the name on that camera? That Craig, that's a FLIR C2, and you can get it at inspectoroutlet.com. Inspectoroutlet.com. There's the URL. So if you want to get any inspection tool, I was also showing the crawl gear to folks who had video connection. So this is one of our good folks who produce tools for our inspectors. And you put this on your thighs here, and it helps you crawl around in the crawl space. Yeah, holds up a lot of your weight, and the rest of your weight can be held up by the gloves, which go up to and past your elbow, and you crawl through the crawl space. Right? These are pretty cool. Really good gloves, protective gloves. And then you wear a hard hat, or a hat at least, some protective gear, headlamp, and you can get all that stuff at Inspector Outlet. We are going to inspect this house today. So thank you all for coming to class. We had over 500 people registered for the class. Today is June 7th, 2016. If you have to leave early, it's fine. We record all of our classes, and they'll be at our class site, which is nachi.org/class. I'll put up these slides, and if we get to the inspection report itself, I'll put up the sample report as well. And we have an infrared class held right here at InterNACHI headquarters. Oh, I don't want that to happen. And you can go to nachi.org/infrared class, one word, to check that out. Hands-on training with, and you become infrared certified, which is essential before you pick up one of these devices, infrared cameras. You have to be trained and certified. You got to know what you're doing out there. And we have a bunch of events all around the country coming up in the second half of 2016 in Atlanta, Raleigh, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and San Francisco. Free events, free seminars about business and marketing. And we're going to go over 4 programs: the Roof Data Technician Program, the Home Energy Score Program, Infrared Certified Program, and the 15-Step Inspector Success Program. All the programs are free. The seminar is free. And we're providing some food and coffee and things, and that's all free. And also a ton of giveaways. We'll bring a bunch of stuff, door prizes and things. Again, if you happen to leave, nachi.org/class, that's where all of our registration for our free classes, we do free classes online, interactive classes all the time, and the video recordings of all the classes are there. And also, if you're looking for anything, we tried to make one page that has everything. So go to nachi.org/everything if you're trying to find something like a particular class or a certification that InterNACHI provides. We put it all there. So let's inspect this home. Craig, yep. Oh, Steven says, the gloves don't go past the elbows if you're a taller guy. I'm 6'3", so am I. And they don't protect my elbows when crawling, they're too short. Yep, so I think there's only one size. I'm 6'3", it goes a little bit past my elbows. I guess I have short arms. But yeah, you're gonna have to customize if you're a tall fella, right? So what I do when I go to the property is I try to get there early, and that's part of my brand. During this class, we're gonna talk about branding and marketing. But part of my brand is I get there early. From where I'm from, if you arrive on time, you're late. So you got to get there early. It helps me out because I want to do something that my client can't follow me on. So I don't invite my client up on the roof. I don't care if it's a 1-story rancher, a little shed roof. They're not coming up with me. So I get there early and I do my inspection of the roof. And while I'm inspecting, I'm taking pictures. So I've got a framer's pouch with 2 pouches and 1 camera. You can use your mobile device as well. And, but I have a camera just for photos and a camera for video. I do video as well, and that's part of my brand as well. So I shoot video of the inspection, particularly the roof inspection. And then I play that video when I'm all done with the inspection. In about 2.5 hours, I'll be done with the inspection. I'll play the video for my client in the kitchen so that they can see what's going on the roof. And also, I am trained and certified to walk upon roofs. Now, the standards of practice do not require a home inspector to walk upon any roof surface, even a flat roof, not required to walk on it. But you have to inspect it. Or tell your client that that inspection was restricted, right? Maybe it's a 3-story flat roof with no access, maybe in downtown somewhere, right? Yep, I've been there. So you can't access it. But if you had a spectroscope, which is a 40-foot pole with a Wi-Fi camera connected to your device, you probably could inspect it. So there's always a tool that you can consider to get around your restrictions. But I'm trained and certified. I was a home builder in Pennsylvania, built homes, I walked upon roofs, trained and certified. So in this inspection, I'm walking on this roof surface. It's like a 312 low pitch, rancher, not very high. I've got my soft-soled shoes on. They're gripping well, but not damaging. And I'm taking pictures that will identify me and my brand and what I do for my clients. This is a really cool shot I put in every report. I take a picture of this, me inspecting closely with my foot and my hand on the roof covering material. It's not a roof system inspection, it's roof covering material inspection, because that's all I can see. I can't see fastening and what's underneath the roof covering. And I put this in my inspection report, knowing that my inspection report tends to be passed around to potential clients, not just my client, but they pass it around to their friends in the office or real estate agents. So it's all about also marketing. It's not just doing a great inspection. You have to be technically good, proficient, competent. You have to exceed in your inspection training, but you also have to think about marketing. So you're cheating the public if you're a great inspector, but you're a terrible marketer, right? You have to get out there. Just a question from Steven. Ben, when you do a final walkthrough, do you walk the client around the property, or do you do everything, photos and video, inside on laptop? So I love it when my client was with me. I think it's a waste of time for me to inspect without my client. So I invite my client with me. If my client can't be there, I'm going to shoot a lot of video, just as if they were there with me. And then I'm going to tell my client who wasn't present at the inspection that they missed out on a great opportunity to ask me questions. And it's going to be almost too late to ask me questions after I leave the property. I can do a walkthrough, and I tend to do them for free. I may send out one of my employees to do the walkthrough with the inspection report to kind of follow up, see if things were repaired. But I try to eliminate all that stuff by having my client right with me so that we can have a conversation. And I guess that just takes a couple years of experience to be able to talk, walk, chew gum, and inspect, take pictures. And also I write my reports on a mobile device because I want to do 2 inspections a day in order to make my desired salary. So I need to do 2 inspections a day. That means I need to be mobile. I have to quickly do them. Not too fast. I tend to schedule my inspections at 8 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock, 8 and 12. A few hours in between. I tend to do a home inspection in about 2.5, 3 hours with a wrap up, and then I go to my next job, which has been scheduled by my office manager as close as possible without too much traffic. So there's a few things. Having an office manager is fantastic, but if you're alone, no big deal. Just make sure that if you're going to do more than 1 inspection a day, that you are good with time management. Okay, so this is what tends to happen during my class. I get off track. So only a few slides in, and we're talking about a bunch of things. So what I do is I take pictures of every surface, roof surface, identify all the roof surfaces by taking a picture, and I'm walking around, and I want to see like the ridge. I take back, left, right, front, all the planes, up close pictures, the edges. There's the ridge vent, gable vent. Now these are systems. Ventilation is part of not just the roof, but also the attic space. So I'm going to get into the attic space, and I have to remember that a house is a system of interdependent parts. If I see a system component on the outside here, like roof ventilation, I know that it's connected to other parts of the house. I have to be mindful of that. So there's the chimney stack, large chimney stack, and has major damage on the outside, water damage it looks like. I don't think it's overheating or anything like that. I think some cracking has happened and has popped off the material, cracked it, they've patched it, classic. Maybe freeze-thaw stuff going on. Water tends to do some crazy things when it expands and saturates concrete masonry material. The cap is okay, but it needs to be repaired. Not a big deal. It needs to be repaired, not by the homeowner, but by a contractor. New flue liner for the heating system. Kind of happy about that. Possibly that was causing the condensation to move moisture, right? To move from inside to out and pop the masonry on the outside, but there's a new flue liner. This is the other flue liner There were two, right? Two flues. And sorry about that. And it's rectangular, so it's probably a fireplace, right? If circular, square, tends to be a heating system. Remember, this is in the Northeast. This is a property in the Northeast in Pennsylvania. And so we have chimneys, masonry chimneys, oil-fired things, fuel-fired things. So we have a chimney here, and the flue looks great. Standards of practice. It guides me through my home inspection. I refer to it a lot in my inspection agreement, in my home inspection itself, in my inspection reports, in my home maintenance book. Every chapter of the home maintenance book that I give to my client refers to the standards of practice. It provides additional information, helps reduce my liability by providing additional information that reflects my work and also is my brand. So the first system in the standards of practice is roof, and I tend to do the roof first. And guess what's in my inspection report first? Roof. Guess what's in the home maintenance book first? Roof. So it's called congruence. Everything that I do is kind of the same pattern, same feel, same brand, same systems over and over again. And it gets me going in the same pattern, and I don't make a mistake because I don't do things out of order. I do things in sequence. And my client has that experience too. I do things in sequence. I inspect in a sequence. My standards of practice is in a sequence. My inspection report is the same way. If I do the roof first, the first thing they read in the inspection report is roof. They would go, oh yeah, that's, and then we do the exterior. So according to standards, I'm not required to inspect any flue. No flues. No flue interior, no flue liner, no flue. But if I'm there, I take a picture of it and I take a look, because oftentimes I'll see a hole, right? I'll see a big crack in the flue liner. Taking pictures. I'll be on the roof for maybe a half an hour and take 100, 150 pictures of the roof. I won't get them all in the report, probably a dozen, but I'll give all of them to my client actually. The flashing here, the counter flashing, the top edge was not grooved into the masonry. I kind of like that. And it wasn't even sealed. So it's very loose, prone to water penetration, defect, roofer is needed. Step flashing installed, that's good. There's a wire, and it's a live wire because I have my tool from Inspector Outlet, right, to see if something's live. It gives me a signal, tick tracer, sometimes it's called. And it's an interior use only wire, and it's lying on top of the roof surface. So that's an easy defect, but it's also a hazard. Right there, identify it, I pull the opening. So it's really a terrible thing to do, to install, but the pictures are awesome. Give my client an idea of what's going on. Then I go to components that I find on the roof system, which is anything that penetrates the roof covering material. Anything that pops a hole through my roof covering material, I want to inspect it. And I want to make sure it's flashed properly or sealed properly. So Skylights is kind of like a window in the exterior wall, but on the roof. It has to be flashed properly with the mindset of how water moves. You know, rainwater comes down and it moves towards the ground, right? But it kind of goes around things and moves in. Water has tension, so water tension, and it could be absorbed too. So I want to look at these components of the roof system with the mindset of how rainwater moves. So I'm inspecting it like that, and I see cracks. I see cracks in the cover of the Skylights. Other Skylights, there were 6 Skylights on this roof. So it was a lot to inspect. And some of them were different than the others. There's flashing around the vent stack pipe. The gutters are in great shape. Newer roof, newer gutters, so they installed new roof. And there was 1 layer of shingles, so they tore off the old layer, put the new layer down. There's Skylights in the back, little metal roof in the back. It's in good shape. Peeling paint from some painting that was done at the fascia board. Wood shingle shapes in poor condition. Some of it is really curled up, cracked, missing pieces like, let's see if I can scribble on here. Let's see if I can get this to work. Sorry, folks. Let's see. Yep. Let's try that again. All right. I can't get it. I'm on a different screen. Sorry about that. I was going to circle that area, but there's a shingle missing right there. So I don't really like that very much. I think that it's original to the house, probably 30, 40 years old. While I'm on the roof, I take a look at other systems, other components. There's the pool back there, all covered up. This is the winter time. Not a great cover, but it's doing its job. And also, I do video, like I said. So let's see. The asphalt shingle roof covering appears to be newer. It's a young roof. I don't see anything missing or damaged. I don't see any repairs that were performed. Been walking on the roof surface, feels good. Just flashing around the sewer vent pipes, flashing around the skylight. There are 3 on the shingle roof. Looks like some cracking of the window pane interior, not the exterior bubble. The metal roof, small metal roof with the skylights are in good shape. Older cedar shingle roof in the back. There's a ridge vent installed on the roof and a gable vent at the attic. At the chimney stack here, there's an electrical wire wrapped around the chimney stack lying on the roof. The wire is an interior use only wire, and it's deteriorating because it's outside, so that's an electrical hazard. Masonry chimney stack, looks like a new flue liner was installed for the heating system. There's a fireplace, could use a cap in the screen. The exterior needs repair. Looks like the stucco material, masonry material, was patched before this patch. Still needs repair. Large cracks, water pushing the material out. And the flashing is missing sealant. It's open to water penetration. So a lot of inspectors wonder, like, how do I get my business to grow? Well, you have to think about branding and adding value to your service. So what I did was I didn't sell infrared separately. I just included it with my home inspection. Every home I carried an infrared camera and I used it. I hardly even put infrared pictures in my reports or even commented on them. It was just something I added. It's kind of like icing on the cake. It gave me an opportunity to add value and therefore increase my service fees. I also did a ton of pictures that I gave to my clients, and I also shot video. So I was the inspector who did all this crazy stuff with digital cameras, video, and infrared. And it was all quote unquote free. It gave me an opportunity again to allow my clients to pay for those additional services by raising my fees. If you add value, you should think about how you price your services. And if you need help on how to price your services, it really has nothing to do with your competition, your market area, a little bit about your market area. It has nothing to do with feelings. It's all about math. Overhead, desired salary, and profit margin. And it's very easy math to figure out how much and the amount of time you want to work. A little bit of math, a little bit of division, and you figure out how much you should be charging per hour or per job. It's very easy to do. And that way, if you calculate how much your inspection fee is, when the phone rings, and my phone has been ringing, you know that you can pick it up and this is going to be a profitable phone call because you've already figured out your fee structure. There are a lot of inspection restrictions that I don't like to write in detail in my inspection report, filling up with disclaimers and inspection restrictions and things like that. I allow the photographs and the video to do a lot of the talking. Picture's worth 1,000 words. So I can't get under the deck very much. There's a lot of things going on, but I think there's a low-lying area by this basement door, and I love just hunting for water. when you get trained in infrared, you just go, it's like a hunting expedition for water. Let's see, I'm just looking at the questions before I get to the next system. So I'm done with the roof system, right? Before I step on my ladder to get down to the ground, I have written my inspection report of the roof system with my mobile device. I'm done with the inspection report for that system. So I don't go from system to system to system without writing my inspection report. Even if I have to ask my client for 30 seconds, a minute, to write my inspection report on my mobile device, it's worth it. I don't go to another system. I don't do the full home inspection and then try to remember what I inspected and write their inspection report at night, right? Hours later. You can, if you get a mobile device, they're on Inspector Outlet, we sell software through our vendor partners. And if you write on a mobile device, you can make sure that you don't miss anything. And if you break it down by system, depending on how you do the inspection, it's either 9 or 13 systems, you'll have a better method, a sequence of doing your inspections, and it reduces your liability, your chances of making mistakes. So before we get to the exterior, I want to take a look at some of these questions. Does it make sense to look in the attic first? First examine the roof decking for rot and unsafe conditions before I walk on a roof? I did it for 13 years, you know? Probably did it the wrong way. So if you want to check first the roof decking before you get on the roof, go for it. It just, in my brand, in my business, I like to be on the roof first without going into the home. It's kind of intrusive, kind of difficult to do. I can get there an hour early if I wanted to and be on the roof in the exterior. So there was only one occurrence where I got there early, I was stepping on the roof, and it creaked and cracked so much. I think the plywood was just incredibly delaminated. It was incredible that the roof was functional at all. The roof decking, you could see it was a little wavy. But I stepped on the roof, it creaked a couple times, I took another step, it creaked even more, and I got off. So I did have that experience. I apologize. Figured out how to turn that off next time. Yep, Robert is very concerned about walking on the roof. You're not required to do so. But we do have a spectroscope tool. That's a big tool. And a camera is attached to the top of it. Your mobile device is attached in your hands at the bottom. It extends up 30 some feet, wireless connection, and so that you can inspect the roof while standing on the ground. So I recommend that. Which appears to be non-conforming materials. Flex up, yep. Scott, you're awesome. Home inspections. I'm trying to go through. What is your opinion using drones? Drones are for fun, basically, unless you have that approval from the government. It appears, now those step flashing around the skylights, many of the skylights, I do call that up. So I do pull up. I don't look for exposed step flashing. I want that step flashing tucked underneath the shingle. So when you install it properly, you really shouldn't see step flashing all over the place. So I do tend to pull up 1 or 2 tabs of shingles, not all of them. And that's kind of like my sample. So I look for the head flashing, the apron, and the step flashing around those things. And if I see a sample of good installation, I basically keep going. What mobile inspection software is the best? I don't know, actually. Haven't done a full home inspection for a paying client for a few years, but from what I understand, there's some leaders in the industry. You see them at our events. You can call them up. Most software, if not all, software providers have free trials you can download and try them out. I would recommend just going to inspectoroutlet.com, inspectoroutlet.com. That's InterNACHI's e-commerce partner because Inspector Outlet provides special recognition to members. With all your add-ons, how much do you charge for your inspections? When you were inspecting, some of my free add-ons are personal guarantees and warranties. I also do most of what you do except thermal imaging, not trained yet. Yep. Again, every time I add something like a home maintenance book, right? A lot of inspectors say, well, I don't want to do a home maintenance book. It's $2.70 each, giving them away. I used to give 3 away on every job, by the way, because, well, we can go into that later. Americans tend not to throw away books, so they give them away. And so you can customize this, but my card would be attached to the thing that my client is giving away. Just increase your fee. So if this is $2.70, why don't you increase your inspection fee by $5 and allow your client to purchase their own home maintenance book and your coffee in the morning. I never bought anything that I gave away. So my clients always had the opportunity to purchase the free infrared or the free home maintenance book or the free videos. That's my advice. You can try to sell it, but I was just successful in not selling it. And then I got to the point where I was making probably a little over $500 to $750 per home inspection. Brought home $1,000. I wanted all my employee inspectors to bring back to the office $1,000. So that's where we were. And we were in a nonstop shop too. So you can do home inspection, termite, radon, water quality. Lead hazard risk assessments are really fun and very profitable. You have to take a 5-day class typically through an EPA-approved trainer. It's worth it. Find it. Google it. I did that. That was a lot of fun. I helped a lot of children not get lead in their bodies. I was doing well by doing good. So there are many things where you can diversify your services as well. So I'm going around the outside, and remember, I'm thinking about water. So I'm thinking about how water goes down the sides of the home and around the surrounding ground areas. I want everything sloped away and diverted away. And I'm looking for openings. Just like a roof penetration, I'm looking for openings in the building envelope, the exterior envelope, the exterior siding materials, including cracks, like these masonry cracks. I had a home just like this. Things shift and move on old masonry homes with stone. These are real stone. This isn't like the fake stuff, right? These are probably 6 inches thick stone. And I'm not too concerned about it. I was just very familiar with what was going on with the materials. Those need to be patched up so that water doesn't penetrate. And it needs to be patched up with similar material. I don't like to see silicone on stucco material, let's say, or man-made stone material. It has to be patched up properly. And I'm taking pictures of everything, as you can see. So on this one inspection, I probably took almost 600 pictures. Gave them all to my client. Not sure what that is. The elongated hole is kind of like a carpenter ant exit hole. They tend to be elongated, about that size, but I only found one. The other are actually roof nails. So I'm not going to call that out as infestation, but I do look for anything that damages wood, which is a wood-destroying insect or organism. I also look for mold as well. Indications of defects. Soft wood, I tend not to put my finger in rotten wood or probe with a screwdriver, but if that happens, I always take a picture of it. If I put my hand through something, if I crush something, if I damage anything, I always take a picture of it. If I'm testing the garage door and it falls apart, take a picture of it. And I'm very surprised that a lot of my clients don't understand that they should be grateful for me finding defects, especially those that I create, because it's better for me to find those problems than someone else. So if there's a hole in the siding and I put my fist through it, I'll take a picture of it. I'm not trying to hide anything. I found a defect. It just wasn't apparently visible until someone actually tested it or touched it. Sometimes that's all you got to do to find a defect. There's a little attached shed roof, wood structure built on a porch slab, piece of concrete, poorly maintained, really close to water, probably a lot of splashing water. This is in Pennsylvania, we call it. So there's a lot of wood rot, but I'm not too concerned. But any kind of structural rot is in my report, but it's not the house. It's this little shed thing. A lot of restrictions, wood in contact with the dirt, load-bearing support. So I'm looking for, there's me poking my finger through wood rot. And on the inside, it's just filled with junk. So there are inspection restrictions, and there are things that I just can't see. And there's a lot of wood rot. I'm trying to take pictures of it, micro, macro. I tend to try to take a large picture and then I move in. And I think in patterns of 3. So a big picture and 2 small detailed pictures. Big picture, detailed pictures, big picture, detailed pictures. And so these sheds are sometimes built by homeowners. They don't know how to do electrical wiring safely. So there's a lot of electrical hazards in this little like lean-to shed thing that's attached to the house. And there's also wood rot around this porch here with the skylights. Remember the 3 skylights on the metal roof, black metal roof? There's wood rot down on the bottom here as well. I'm concerned about that. And a lot of delayed maintenance, deferred maintenance, a lot of wood rot, a couple cracks. They're all hairline. There's a tree right next to the house. I'm not happy about that very much. But I'm taking pictures of just about anything that has an angle or any different materials that are intersected or anything that is low to the ground, and especially a door opening. So I tend to take, remember, it's all about sequence and patterns, so I don't make a mistake. So when I see a door on the outside, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, I'm taking pictures, and I'm forcing myself by taking pictures to look in those areas as well and touch in those areas. So I have a lot of those touch pictures. I'm in contact with the material. If I'm ever in front of a judge, and I have been in my inspection business, no big deal. You get pulled into small claims because someone has a complaint and can't resolve it informally. So you go, you bring your documents, inspection agreement, inspection report, standards of practice, home maintenance book, all the other materials, and your pictures, and you show that that you were competent and were very detailed in your inspection. You even touched the things that you inspected. So those are cool. Painting a crack isn't good enough for me. So I'm going to ask for a contractor to fix that. And I see a sump pump with an opening. Sump pump's not discharging well enough away from the house. I'm concerned about water now. And this opening just allows vermin and mice and things like that to get in, not just water. A lot more cracks. So many cracks, a lot of them hairline. I don't want to stick a quarter on the edge, especially a pencil on the edge. So when there's displacement, either opening this way or this way, right? That's a concern. So I'm going to have somebody come. I want my client to know that there are a lot of cracks. And I lived in a house just like this, so I know how this house is built. It's masonry block and with stucco on the outside. There's that sump pump discharge. There's an extension cord coming out of the house and just lying on the ground. I don't know what that's about. So this home had a lot of little things that I took pictures of. Even the details of the paint condition on the windowsills. I want how the different materials of the masonry touches the bottom part of the windowsill, which is made out of wood. Gas meter, gas applied to the house, natural gas, minor rust. There's this shutoff valve, pressure regulator. The water lines to the outside in this cold climate should be frost-free, and this one is not. In the wintertime, if this faucet hose bib is filled with water, it will actually burst open and squirt. There's my van. The exterior, taking pictures all around, the driveway, how dirt is built up against the house, and that dirt is now pushing on that retaining wall. It's a short retaining wall that could be easily fixed, but that moisture and dirt is swelling and pushing that retaining wall over. And there's Gfci problems on the outside of the house. We have interior receptacles, essentially, at ground level. And live wires sticking out of the ground. So this is probably on a light. This is a cord to a light, and it's live right now, maybe on a timer. Not sure, but live wires sticking out of the ground is a hazard. And the deck, top of the deck, my client is with me, but I can't get underneath it. Another faucet that's not frost-free. So I'm going to take pictures of my inspection restrictions. I can't crawl underneath there. I can't get to it. There's lattice all around the outside, but I can see we have a dryer vent pipe, we have a sump pump discharge, got a lot of debris, construction. There's that sump pump discharge. There's a wire I grab through the lattice, and I grab the interior use only wire underneath. There's a lot of boxes and shutoff switches and electrical cords and plumbing underneath this outdoor hot tub, which is not supported well at all. A lot of different materials, non-pressure treated wood that is rotting. The bricks are loose. They're installed improperly. The deck floor joists are not installed properly. Undersized joist hangers, improper fastening. A lot of things going on underneath this deck that you wouldn't see if you didn't stick your head through the lattice there. So I'm glad I did. The dryer exhausts underneath there. The concrete blocks are being used. They're improperly installed. Improper support. I guess there's some load-bearing concerns, especially with the hot tub. So we need a contractor in there. And turns out there's, on a second, sump pump discharge, it looks like. There's two pipes coming out. One's barely out the foundation wall, and the dryer vent is totally clogged with lint. So you can't see what's going on, can't access it. That means you can't maintain it. You don't know what's going on. So fire hazard and water discharge problems. There's a little zoom. So the zoom feature of my camera is awesome. And there's the clogged dryer. And wooden components and metal steel columns that are either rusted and deteriorated or rotten. So there's a lot of structural problems underneath this deck. Somebody's got to get in there. Even though it's not high. This deck is maybe 2 feet off the ground. But you don't want structural problems. And spacing between the railing spindles should be no more than 4 inches. Can't get a 4-inch sphere in there. This one's over 5. So that's a problem. Holes through which water can penetrate the interior of the home is not a good thing. So that's the main electrical line going in. That's a 200 amp electrical line. There's the grounding rod, electroconductor. There's the meter, 200 amp meter. The old 100 amp meter, I can tell, was replaced because of the groove in the stucco, original stucco. So that looks good. The air conditioner is a little bit tight with the fence and the house, but it's a relatively newer air conditioner. Oh, and if you wanted to date the air conditioner, you have to know the manufacturer name and also use the serial number, and then visit this amazing site. We're not related to buildingcenter.org, but they have a site where you can go on and type in the serial number of any HVAC system, heating, cooling, and also hot water tanks, hot water sources, and get the actual date, manufacturing date. And that's buildingcenter.org. Disconnect within site, that's good. I have 2 PVC pipes coming down from the attic space, and they're discharging. So I know that this air conditioner, because I can see the refrigerant line, going up into the attic space, the air handler is in the attic, not original to the house. House didn't have any central air. So I'm probably going to have a few rooms that are not conditioned by this air conditioning system. There's a newer air conditioning system. It's going to be in the attic, so I want really nice access. I want it hung and supported well, and I want a water catch pan underneath, and I want it lit, and I want it maintained. There's a few things that I'm expecting this air conditioner system in the attic to have. And the 2 discharge pipes, that's one for the safety catch pan and also overflow of that pan in case that drainage pipe gets clogged. And there's a confirmation of the natural gas supply to the house. Fences, not really part of my inspection, but I'll take a picture of it. And a pool inspection is separate from my home inspection. I'll disclaim it in my home inspection report. I'll offer to provide that inspection service if they'd like. I may even bring in an expert. We've done that before. There are safety issues with the fence and a few other things with the electrical. The cover is obviously not all that great. There's some movement of the concrete walks around the pool itself. A lot of GFCIs that are there but are missing their safety feature. A lot of poorly done installed electrical wiring. So if this pool system was installed by a professional, it wasn't done well. It was probably done by a homeowner. these wires are not installed properly. That's not a master electrician there. And there's wood rot on some of the structures around the pool. No big deal. Panel for the pool. Some breakers are on and some breakers are off. So be careful. Don't ever turn on a breaker that has been turned off or tripped off. So this is a Gfci that was tripped off. There's a few in there. And I take the cover off. You are not required to pull any dead front cover off. I'm trained to do so. I wear a protection on my face, on my eyes, on my hands, and I pull the cover off and I want to take a look on the inside. According to the standards of practice, no home inspector is required to pull the dead front cover off. It's very hazardous. I do not recommend it. Another hazard on the outside that a lot of home inspectors may not think about are the ponds and the bird baths and the pools. So there's a little fish thing going on here. Small kids can fall in, and we don't want that to happen. And improper electrical wiring. Interior use, NMB stuff on the outside, not good. Not good at all. So a lot of hazards out there. And anything that's storing fuel, especially water, chemicals, things around the house that are in storage. I tend to take a picture of that. Even like pet stuff, I'll take a picture and make sure my client knows that is going on. And I'm at the heating system. This is a boiler system. So I've written my report, remember, on my mobile device. Now I'm taking my client, well, from the beginning, I get there early, I do the roof inspection, I write my report with my mobile device on the roof, come down, I visit my client, shake their hand, give my cards. I take my client around the exterior once, and I send them inside the house, and then I go around the exterior slowly, doing my actual inspection. And then I go in, and I want to do the big stuff first, the hard stuff. Heating, cooling, structure, electrical, plumbing. The rest of it is like attic, interior bathrooms, that's easy stuff, kitchen. I do the easy stuff as I go, right? Because you can kind of pace yourself through doing a sample number of windows or something like that when you're in interior. But I want to spend the heart of my time, the majority of my time with my client at the big systems like the heating system. So this is a boiler, and it's a gas-fired boiler because I remember the natural gas supply, shutoff valve, and meter was on the outside. And essentially, if you're not familiar with this, it's a cast iron box filled with water. It's heated up with flames underneath, and that water, that hot water, almost at boiling temperature, like 180 degrees, is circulated throughout the house through these pipes and to radiators, and they radiate out energy. And it returns, that hot water returns to the boiler system a little bit cooler, and the process starts again. Let's see here. We have a few questions. How do you give 600 photos to your client? Well, nowadays, yeah, it's from the cloud. You can do it from the cloud. A lot of software providers have that ability. Or I used to, a long time ago, was burn them to a CD, then USB. So I would use the most recent technology. I always push technology to your advantage. What megapixel camera do you use? Well, it was probably a 2, 3, 4 megapixels, but I reduced it to the absolute lowest res picture. So very low res. I think it was 640 by 480 pixels, very small, low res. Each picture was probably weighed about 140, 120 kilobytes, very small. I'm not publishing a book here. I'm not taking high megapixel stuff, high resolution stuff. Very small things. Stick them in the report, done. Yep. Actually, these pictures are low res pictures. See that picture of the boiler? Very low res picture. That was the inspection picture itself. This is not high resolution pictures. These are very low res pictures. Very lightweight and easy to move around and share. And small enough to put in your report, right? What type of camera, brand, model? I like the Canons because it had that fat part for my hand. Nowadays, these cameras, they look like this 32 camera which is very hard for my hands to hold onto. You know, it doesn't have a big grip. So actually not too big, but not too small. So if the landscape wiring is low voltage, is it really a hazard? Right. So it could have been low voltage. I don't know what's going on. When you see an electric wire coming out of the ground, right? And your thing is telling you that there's something going on, it's an electrical hazard. Thank goodness I'm a home inspector. If I was an electrician, I'd have to go further and where is it? What's the breaker? What's the system on? I'm just looking for anything that could be a hazard, in my opinion, right? It's great to be a home inspector. I don't have to diagnose. You don't have to diagnose anything. You just have to report indications of defects that you observe. If you didn't see it, then you can't report it, right? InterNACHI fee calculator is a calculation of the age of the house. Do you charge for the age of the house in your fee? And if you do, what was your fee per year of the house? Robin asks. Right. So I charged not only for age of the house, if it was over 30 years, in Pennsylvania, in my market area, if it's over 30 years, it's got more defects and I'm gonna have to spend more time. And I'd love to just spend my entire day there. So we would charge an extra $50. And then, travel. So anything over 20 miles, we would charge more. And then exceptional, that was my market area, about 20, 30 miles away from home is where I did my work, and in southeastern PA near Philly. And then if I had to travel outside of that, I would charge more. You got to charge more. And having the InterNACHI fee calculator is pretty cool because you just type in your base and then your add-ons, and it helps you. And it also adjusts that fee dynamically based upon how busy you are. If you're not busy, then yeah, you take that job. If you are busy, then your fee increases because demand and your fee, they go up, right? If you're in high demand, so should your prices be. Ben, I've been on many other webinars. Those people have said adding too many pictures in reports is a waste of time. Also tend to have the reports done on site and give them to my client quickly. I generally take many photos like you and get the report client in 24 hours. What are your thoughts on this? I just wanted to do what my clients did. I did what my clients wanted. My clients actually just wanted the summary of the report, and they wanted to be assured at the beginning of the inspection that they hired the right inspector. So let's do the second one first. So I arrive early to my inspection, I stand on the roof, and hopefully my client pulls into the driveway and I wave at them from the roof. And in my head, I assumed, never really asked, that from when they got out of their car and looked up and said hi to me, they were assured that they hired the right inspector because I was doing something that was impressive. The shock and awe of it, right? Getting there early nowadays is impressive, right? The second thing is writing the report. If you ask your software provider, if you do the iCloud download thing, like HomeGauge or Home Inspector Pro, you can ask them if they actually read the full inspection report or not. See if you can get that data. I've heard that not a lot of your clients read the entire inspection report. Maybe that's just anecdotal hearsay. I'm not sure, just a story. But I know for sure, personally, that my clients just wanted to read the summary. And if there were any problems later on, like complaint, then they would read the entire inspection report. But they wanted the summary because they needed that more than the full report. The full report was basically written by me to be impressive and as a marketing piece. My client wanted to take action immediately after the inspection. So I used software that was mobile and allowed me to print out a summary so that my client can grab a pen and use their summary report, which is on 1 or 2 pages, and start checking off, negotiating, and fixing, right? If there are defects, they got to negotiate or get it fixed, or it's a problem, right? So that's what my clients needed, a summary. If they wanted me to print out the entire report, I threw in as many pictures as I could real fast, gave myself about 20 minutes. And then I printed out the report as I said hi and bye and got paid. the report is printing out. Full color report, beautiful. On punched paper, I put it in a binder and I snap a home maintenance book. I bought someone else's, then I wrote this one for InterNACHI members. This is the best home maintenance book you can do. It also provides information that you don't have time to provide. And if you ever get pulled into the court or something, it helps reduce liability because you gave as much information as possible during your inspection. So this really helps. And it's punched. So you stick that in the binder along with your signed agreement if you can, print it out, and other documents. And that's what I did. That summary was really important to my client. I didn't question it, I just gave it. So I would say it's really not up to what other inspectors say. It's really what your client wants. If your client wants a summary, do a summary. If your client wants the entire inspection, do the entire inspection. If your client thinks there's value in having 500-600 pictures provided to them on USB or downloaded from the cloud, do it. But remember, whenever I added value, that was an opportunity for me to raise my fees. Do you carry a mobile printer? And so what's no, mobile printers are too slow. So I got the smallest little thing from Office Max or Staples or something like that. That was full color. Ink was costly, but I didn't pay for my ink. My clients paid for their ink. Okay. Let's see. Whoop. So the switch, emergency shutoff switch is loose. That needs to be fixed. Gas shutoff valve. I'm doing components. So the system was the boiler, right? There's the boiler. Now components of the system. That is a component. Take a picture of it. Shutoff valve. This is the temperature gauge, the high-low temperature gauge of the boiler. This is the circulator pump of the boiler that circulates water. This is the draft inducer to pull the combustion gases through the heat exchanger and push them out of the chimney. This is the serial number and boiler manufacturer. That's the temperature and pressure gauge. That's the pressure relief valve set to 30 psi. It explodes if it goes higher, and if it does, everyone's going to get scalded. So that needs to be extended down. There's the interior. Sometimes if I can, very easily, if it's accessible, take the panel covers off, take a look at the cast iron material and the burner ports and the burners and the condition of that. So everything's going really good for this boiler. There's the chimney flue. That could be sealed up. Water fill valve and check valve and shutoff valve. No maintenance on the boiler. So that's a problem. There's an expansion tank. When water heats up, it tends to expand, and this absorbs that expansion. There's a bladder in there, air bladder. There's a hot water source. The boiler did not create the hot water, domestic hot water for the fixtures. We had a hot water tank. It's a gas-fired hot water tank. That's the system. Here are the components. The shutoff valves coming in, the temperature gauge, the shutoff gas valve, the water shutoff valve, and the intake pipe, the outtake, the flue. It's a natural draft, by the way. The pressure relief valve is not extended to the floor, just like the boiler. That's a safety hazard. The bottom is not rusted. It doesn't have a water catch pan. That could be installed. There's the water now coming in to the house. I think water coming in and water coming in, draining out. So I want to do water supply. Water supply underground, shutoff valve, water meter. There's a shutoff valve, jumper cable, pressure relief valve and check. If you have a pressure relief valve and check valve on the cold water coming in and a hot water tank, it should have a bladder tank, an expansion tank. If it doesn't, then check your pressure relief valve. It tends to drip because there's excessive pressure on the water lines. There are, down in the basement, a lot of drain pipes, especially the laundry here. And I'm behind some kind of laundry and dryer vent thing, and I'm taking pictures of any drain pipes now. I'm thinking drain pipes. I did water supply, now drain. And here's it was a water supply. It's part of the boiler, actually. And it's been duct taped. There's a leak at the T-fitting, maybe, and they've been duct taping it instead of fixing it. So that's the heating system, water supply, water drain, drain waste vent, and now electrical. 2 fingers means 200 amps. That's a 1 is 100 amps, 1 in bent is 150. So 200 amp panel, and there's the main panel. And I also take pictures that are close enough so I know if the breakers are on or off, right? If they're off, I don't turn them on, but I want to identify that everything is on or off and which ones. Oh, and this is not labeled at all. So missing label, a cross finger means that there's a problem. So no labeling. This is a GFCI that has been tripped off, probably me on the outside. So I'll reset this GFCI because you're supposed to test and reset. So reset it, test it, and see what happens on the outside. And sometimes I'll have my helper on the outside looking for receptacles on that circuit. But it should be labeled, and it's not. The individual breakers should be specifically identified. You're not required to pull off the dead front cover. I do. I don't recommend it. It's not safe. Don't do it. There's the 200 amp electrical disconnect. There's the grounding electrode conductor. Saw that outside. Big amp breakers, smaller amp breakers. There's a few things that are not ideal. The grounding wire sharing one thing. That's okay. I have some disconnected conductors, live wires, black wires inside the panel. No big deal. The deal that I don't like is the apparent indications of water penetration within the electrical panel with rust and corrosion and indicating an active problem within this newer panel. So we have water following the line, conductor line, all the way down into the electrical panel, and that's not a good thing. Water and electricity do not mix. And then down in the basement, there was some kind of hot water tub. They love hot water tubs here. Circulating tub, shower. So I'm doing all the fixtures while I'm down there. So I'm combining some things. So you could inspect by system. You can inspect by room. I tend to inspect with a combination of things. So I'll inspect by system, roof system, exterior system, heating system, hot water source, electrical system, plumbing system, drain waste vent. And then when I get to bathrooms, all of those rooms are in one category in my inspection report. So I'll do bathrooms and I'll identify each bathroom and each fixture. Each fixture is inspected, each receptacle is tested for GFCI. Every switch, unless it's identified as a defect already before me. So I'll take a look at everything. I love to pull off the plumbing access panels of every shower and tub. There should be one installed. And if there isn't, I tend to write it in the report as a repair or an improvement. Some bathrooms have carpeting on them. Carpeting really shouldn't be in a bathroom, especially around the toilet. So I tend to lift it up if it's not secured and take a look at the condition of the non-porous material. There should be something underneath there. And sometimes there's some cracks. So this was an elevated toilet down in the basement just to get some gravity going. And so I stepped all around that toilet. And here's a laundry. So the laundry room, so I hope you're all with me. I just got an error sign. So let's see. Looks like we're okay. Are you all with me still? Well, let's keep going. So the laundry area is kind of unique. It has a discharge tub above the laundry with a wastebasket connected to that discharge tub. So that's not very good. And that's a plumbing problem, a defect. So they have a wastebasket attached to the laundry tub to the right. And that's not a very good thing. So I hope you all are with me. Oh, there we go. Dan says pulling off the panel is dangerous. Yes. Don't pull the cover off. You can identify. Yep. So you can still identify wiring without pulling the dead front cover off. Just look at the wiring on the sides that are clamped on the outsides. And sometimes in the unfinished spaces, like a crawl space, basement, or attic space. That's about all I do. Oh, good. Just got back. So we had a disconnect with the connection. I hope you're all with me. But we are, let me go backwards. We are identifying this defect. Above the laundry area, there's a tub, and also connected to it is a wastebasket with 2 connection pipes. So I don't know what's going on. Improper, right? So there's a lot of improper stuff with this laundry area. The drains are not properly installed. The GFCI is missing. There's discharge tubes just lying about. Water supply lines. Take a look at this. This is that double discharge pipe underneath the deck, under the deck, 2 pipes going out. And you can see, whenever I see duct tape on plumbing pipes, that's not a good thing. And it's just a mess. I'm not sure what's going on. Looks like there was a leak there. It's been patched and duct taped, and there's a rag there. The dryer is clogged. There's a drip at a shutoff valve, which is missing a handle above the laundry. There's a gas shutoff valve, but it's a gas dryer, and it's clogged on the outside, so it's a hazard. And the laundry discharge from the clothes washer and tub are just a mess. We have water, standing water in sump pump holes. They're not buckets. They're holes in the concrete floor in corners of the house, and it's mud. So the mud makes the sump pump system unreliable. There's debris inside it. There's a clothes hanger inside this one, and the mud clogs the sump pumps. And sometimes the float gets messed up, and the discharge pipes are all over the place. You see a discharge pipe going vertical, and also there's another sump pump, and that blue pipe is a discharge pipe from the other sump pump. So there's a clothes hanger in that one. A lot of pipes and things that were actually duct taped, a lot of valves. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the water is corrosive, the boiler is not doing something. I don't know. There's a lot of plumbing problems. So I called for a master plumber to come and take a look at a lot of things. Got the tub filled up, and the spray mechanisms are good, nice and bubbly. The timer works. There's a clean out for the fireplace above us, and there's another sump pump, simply in a dirt hole and improperly installed, not reliable, electrical problems, plumbing problems. There's another one. So there's the discharge pipe there. And the electrical lines, a lot of extension cords and no GFCI protection, not very safe. And there's the basement door, no weather trim, no big deal. But the interior key deadbolts make an emergency exit impossible. So that's a hazard. And then there's the recently painted basement wall, which I think has some water penetration issues coming in. There are a lot of inspection restrictions, so can't really see everything. As you can tell, there's a lot of things that are covering up all of the important stuff that we tend to look at as home inspectors. So I tend to take pictures of just about everything that's in my way. But I'm looking for infestation as well, termite infestation. Even if I'm not hired to look for termites, I'm looking for something that damages wood, those little critters. And structural problems, looking for cracks, water penetration. This is a good shot of me and my flashlight looking closely at things. Old electrical NMB wires, ungrounded receptacles are probably in the home, in this older home. And there are a lot of electrical wires just hanging about, unsupported, supported incorrectly. A lot of, there's the red extension cord on the other side. The other side was on the outside. This is the inside. I'm not sure why they would do that. And so there's a lot of problems in the home. So we need a roofer so far for that flashing, remember? Maybe the chimney stack, the skylights are cracked. We need somebody for the exterior because we have wood rot everywhere and cracks on the exterior siding. That's what I can remember, right? And GFCI problems and electrical problems. Down at the heating system, we have a couple things. Remember that loose wire and a loose emergency shut-off switch and a plumbing leak above the boiler. Hot water source. We're missing discharge pipes, extension TPR valves, and we've got water penetration coming into the basement. We have sump pumps that are not good. And now we have a non-vented, fuel-fired heating system. That's not good. And it was turned off, so I can't turn it on. But you never want an unvented heating system, combustion system. There's a bump in the wood flooring. So I take a picture. It's almost like that same picture of the roof that I took, just to show that there's a bump in the flooring. And this is the air conditioner thermostat. So I can't crank it on, and the main return has the air filter in it, and it's clogged. So delayed maintenance, that's in the ceiling, and here it is in the attic. So it was in the attic, the ductwork is in there, and you can tell by the insulation that it was not installed very well. The insulation is not tight. We want to see some good securing at the connections. We don't want any sagging or damaged duct, the flexible duct. We want it sealed, we want it insulated, we want to see mastic, we want to see that insulation around those pipes. We don't want to see a lot of wasted conditioned air being dumped into the attic space. At the same time, I'm looking at the structural components of the attic. And the structural components look good, although I would report the watermarks. So if I see watermarks in the attic, I'm going to report that I saw prior roof leaks, indications of prior roof leaks, and to ask the seller about those. More electrical problems, defects, hazards in the attic space. Terrible splicing. Not even close to being good. And there's the air handler there, supported well. It has a catch pan. That's good. Electrical is okay. And there's the model serial number and manufacturing label. I like that. The insulation is a mess. There's some insulation installed here and there, but the original insulation is only 3 inches thick on average. So in this area, we want over 1 foot of insulation, and nowadays it could be even more. And we want air sealing too. So you stop the house from the natural drafting that happens, especially in a cold climate house. All buildings tend to naturally draft up. So you need to seal that up before you put insulation on it. You can add more insulation on top of the existing insulation, but really to stop the air leakage, you need to seal it, air seal, and insulate. And there's the bathroom vent. It's exhausting directly into the attic space. That's not a good thing. A lot of wiring, a lot of missing insulation, just a lot of defects all over the place. I don't think insulation should be in contact with that light bulb of the bathroom there. So a lot more pictures just snapping away. And if I see a mouse trap, I'll take a picture of it. I'll put it in the report. I won't make a big deal out of it, but I will comment on it. And the fan is about 4 feet away from the gable vent, or 3 feet away from the gable vent. And it's not doing anything, not installed properly. It's just kind of blowing air around. It's near a very small gable vent in the triangle gable part of the attic space. So it's, and I try to turn it on manually if I can. If I can't, then I put it in the report. So it's not doing very well. Not a whole lot of insulation or ventilation, and the attic access panel is not insulated or sealed, and that's the panel there. Now I'm into the interior. I've done really the majority, the bulk of the home inspection. Now I'm doing bathrooms, interior, which is a sample number, representative number of windows, doors, light fixtures, wall receptacles, ceiling fans, anything like that. But I'll run all of the fixtures, hot, cold. I'll flush the toilet, run the sinks and the shower to see how the flow is going. And there's just a lot of problems, a lot of missing things like that cap, no GFCI protection. The shower is functional. I pull the cover off. I like the plumbing access panels to see the drainage pipes. No GFCI protection in this bathroom. Missing handle at the skylight. Watermarks at the bottom corners. There's watermarks there. It's been patched up before. So I'll put that in a report, ask the client to ask the seller when that skylight leaked. Turn on the ceiling fans, open and close the windows, non-grounded, older receptacles with older wiring, and the interior shots, doors, windows, receptacles, floors, a lot of inspection restrictions. I mean, there's a lot that I can't see in this. Once I had a complaint, and there was termite infestation underneath a very heavy cabinet structure in the dining room, right underneath it. And thank goodness I had a picture. So there was actually carpeting installed as well. So I had carpeting and a very large piece of personal furniture, and I was able to explain, according to my standards of practice in my home inspection agreement, that there was no way for me to see that defect. Skylights, more water at the corner there. So the skylights are not really reliable. Maybe it's that step flashing that we talked about earlier. A lot of watermarks at the bottom. This is that skylight structure above me, 3 skylights on a black roof. A lot of water problems on the outside. Remember all the wood rot I saw on the outside? Well, all of that is coming in. The carpet is wet. There's water, rot at the bottom corners. Interior key deadbolts again, hazard. Should be a thumb switch. And those bay windows. I always take a look at the ceiling of a bay window to make sure there's nothing going on with the roof and the flashing. If I can, I'll comment on extension cords and strips like this one. And I'll try to see if it matches code. Although we're not code inspectors, I want the receptacles not to be so far apart. If there's a large wall without a receptacle, I'll make sure I'll try to explain that condition. And sometimes just the extension cords and the strips will indicate that there's a problem with an older home and wiring. Missing light fixtures, a trip hazard there at the closet, a water stain inside a closet at the back of the closet, back wall, little water stain on the drop ceiling tile. I want the seller to explain that. Old smoke detectors. Any smoke detector, plastic smoke detector that was once white and now is yellow should be replaced. And batteries, obviously. There was a problem with a loose door handle at the front entry. Fireplace, there's the ash dump. You can push your ashes down there and clean it out from the basement. I don't know why, because it's not very easy to clean out ashes from the basement down there. It wasn't very easily accessible. But I take a look for cracked masonry. It's basically what I'm doing, or indications of overheating. Anything warping would be a bad thing. And then the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. I run water in the sinks. I look at the drainage pipes. Some interesting stuff down there. Missing GFCIs. Run a short cycle on the dishwasher while I'm there. If I can manually, I'll turn the dial. So it's very short. I'll turn on the burners and the oven. And there's a gas-fired oven. I want, ideally, everything goes outside. So I want it to be discharging outside. And the microwave turns on, and that's my microwave leak detector. And that, folks, is the inspection slides. I also have slides of the inspection report itself. So let's see if we can bring that up. So the report itself is about 60 pages long, 59 pages. And I print out the report at the inspection if my client wants it. I print out a summary, at least, of my inspection report. And this is kind of like what my inspection report looks like. So there's a few pictures on every page. This is the roofing section. I inspected the roof first. First section of the report is roof. I take lots of pictures. Anything that needs to be repaired, monitored, or corrected, I put that in the report. There's the flues. There's a chimney stack that needs repair. The flashing, the grading around the house, the sump pump, the wood rot. The deck has structural problems. The sump pump, frost-free hose bibs. The dryer vent has a problem. The leaning retaining wall. The heating system, loose shutoff switch. No visible record of recent service. Gas wall unit. The air conditioner. The interior filter is dirty. No service record. There's the water line coming in. Expansion tank is missing. There's a couple drips, active water leaks. The hot water tank is 12 years old. It's an old tank. TPR valves need to be extended out. Circuit breakers are not labeled. And it goes on and on. There's water inside the main electrical panel. We have water penetration, active water penetration, and active water penetration and sump pumps that are not installed professionally, not reliable. I like to say that. A lot of extension cords and wiring problems and wiring hazards in the attic especially. Not enough insulation. Bathroom exhausting in the attic. Bathrooms, some of the sink tops are loose. No GFCI protection. And the laundry is just a mess. And the kitchen, no GFCI protection, and the gas exhaust should be going outside. Kitchens and bathrooms should be exhausted outside. And then I took some time to write about the pool, how we disclaim it, we didn't inspect it, but we could, if you like to, and that the deck has structural problems, and that the wooden structures around the pool have problems as well. And then a little report conclusion and a letter that I leave behind for the existing homeowner. And that is our class. Let's see. No more questions? If you would like to register for the next live class, free live class, go to nachi.org/class. We have free live classes. And we also have our past recordings of our past classes at nachi.org/class. And my name is Ben Gromyko. I am from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And I'll see you next time in class. Bye, everybody.